recording in the cloud. Welcome back. This is the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Morello, and we've been traveling for the last 47 weeks through the 52 wealth principles. These are millionaire wealth principles designed to make you a millionaire, designed to make you rich, designed to scare other people away. We're only attracting people who desire more, only people who desire to become more. The goal of the 52 Weeks to Wealth is to build 100 millionaires each and every year. The question is, will you be one of them? Wealth Principle 47 is the law of hyper-focus. Wealth Principle 46 last week was simplify, stay broke, simplify your life. And so in order to contrast and have a lot of fun, we're going from simplify to hyper-focus. This way, last week, your design for your entire business, your entire life was to simplify, clean up everything that was going wrong in your life, get rid of all the garbage, everything that was holding you down, pulling you back, distracting you, taking away from your life, taking away from your energy. And this week, we're going to laser focus on the things that are adding value, adding income to your business, adding love to your relationships, adding health to your life itself, your body, and increase and focus on those three categories: health, wealth, and relationships. We want to focus on the one thing that improves those, that if you could do just this one thing, everything else in your life would be easier. Does that make sense? Hyper focus. It's the law of one thing. It's the law of focus. There's normal focus. There's, okay, let me think about this problem in front of me right now so I can solve it. And then there's hyper focus, which is remove everything and focus on just one thing. Like Terry just said, focus on one thing that if you did that, it's super leveraged, which is why when we talk about wealth building, if you look at the three different aspects to building wealth, you've got stocks, business, and real estate. I focus on real estate. For wealth building, I focus on the most leveraged asset because you can borrow money, you can borrow time, you can borrow other people's energy and experience and leverage their knowledge. Real estate is the most abundant. When you look at market caps, we were joking around with Bitcoin and where it's at the other day. I was on a call with Mitch Jaworski and Mike Schein, and we were talking about market caps. Did you know that gold makes up $9 trillion of the market? Gold is $9 trillion. Bitcoin is $400 billion, so significantly smaller. And then the stock market is $15 trillion. But guess what real estate makes up? $289 trillion. So it is easily the business to focus on. It is easily the business that has the most people who know what they're doing in it. It is clearly the business that has the most people who are willing to jump in and get involved. Does this make sense? Hands to the camera if this is pretty obvious at this point. That real estate is the thing to hyper focus on. If you're going to hyper focus on any sort of investment for becoming wealthier, it would clearly be real estate. Do we agree? Obvious. Of course, we're all real estate investors, so it's a room of very, very smart people. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. Real estate investors, I think, have one advantage over other people. They recognize, every single person in this room recognizes that one fact, that more millionaires, the richest people on the planet, built their wealth through real estate. They hold their wealth in real estate. This is a common fact. Yes, hands to the camera if you've heard this before. Heard it from somebody other than me before. So then this is common knowledge. In fact, likely most people who decide to get into entrepreneurialism probably hear this at some point. And because it's the truth. The truth is the truth. There is no getting around the rules and laws of the universe. The rules are the rules because they are the rules. You can't change them. And so embrace them. Embrace the rules. And so when you're looking to hyper focus on something, look for reality first. Do not just jump at the thing that you see in front of you. Look for the thing that will never, ever change. So when we're talking about things that never change, what Julie mentioned earlier, energy is one of them. If it doesn't matter what's in front of you, but your energy is powerful, and you'll do well because your energy is there, just because you feel good. So it doesn't matter your skill level. It doesn't matter how many people you have around. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. If your energy is high, you're still going to produce better than somebody else who has bad energy. Does that make sense? Low energy. Yes? Awesome. So then it's reasonable to believe that if there was one thing to hyper focus on, it would be getting this energy meter higher, raising the bar on our energy before we go out and do anything else. You don't need to learn more skill set. Who here has sat with me and done a one-on-one strategy session? Mentorship program, graduates, people who have gone through, sat one-on-one with me and had a conversation. When we talk, I am not talking about skill set of real estate. I'm not going to waste our 20 to 30 minutes of powerful movement on giving you, well, this is how you do ARV, and this is what the 70% rule is, the 50% rule, the 1% or the 5% rule. I'm not going to waste your valuable time on something that is tangible that I could just send you an article for. Does that make sense? That I could just text back a response on. That's not what makes you successful. Skill set will not make you rich unless it's the skill set of increasing your energy and getting it to a higher level, being able to stay in a high state of excitement, being able to stay in a place where you are powerful no matter what happens. Now, I'm not saying that you got to be bouncing around the room like crazy and high energy. I can be calm right in front of you. You can see that there's a tension. It's in my voice. It's in my gaze. It's in my eyes. Tension is there. It's always like a springboard just about to snap. Does that make sense? You can feel that energy in everything that comes out of my mouth, every video I've ever done, because that energy is extremely high. It's always set at this level, and this is my average. This is where I hang. When I get really intense, there's nothing else you could focus on. Does that make sense? Because the energy is more powerful. That state is more powerful than anything anybody could ever put on you. We're in a room with 69 people right now, 69 people who are focused on one thing, focused on the opportunity to engage in your own energy. Focus and thinking about a time back when you controlled your energy, when you felt a state where it was really high, or you felt a state when it was really low. And that experience of being able to shift from low to high is actually there at all times. You always have that ability. Some of you are having an awareness right now. As the hand goes up, you see the energy go up. As the hand goes down, you remember something else that brought it down. That's the power of your mind. You have this at any given moment to just shift, to just snap into something better. Does that make sense? Hyper-focus on how this works, on how the inner workings of your mind are playing games with you. If you want to be better at sales, hands to the camera if you want to be better at sales. Awesome. Who would like to be a better real estate investor? Evaluate your deals like that. Quick, fast, boom. Decision maker. Who wants to make decisions faster? Move with more energy, more success in everything that you do. Do you believe that when you're tired, that when you're just out of bed, sleepy, exhausted, that you could make really good decisions? Not likely. But what if you just ran a marathon, or you jumped on a treadmill for 5 minutes, excited? Somebody told you that the best thing you could ever ask for is about to happen, and you're in a great peak state, and then somebody else asks you, hey man, I know the greatest thing's about to happen for you. You're pretty amped up, lady or sir, and I've just got to ask you one thing. Should I buy this property or not? Do you think that you're going to slow down and be like, well, let me think, and you're going to ask something really profound like, is it the right property for you? What do you think about it? Is that fair to say? If you stay in a high state of energy, the right answers just come out. It's easy. So hyper-focus, if you're going to hyper-focus on something really powerful, energy is one of them. Write that down. Hyper-focus on my energy this week. Extremely powerful. If you're going to hyper-focus on one thing, make it your energy. If you could improve that one thing, then all other things will be better. If you can always hold a high state of energy. And again, I'm not saying yell or get crazy. What I'm suggesting is a high state of being, here, present in the moment, focusing on who you are and what you're looking to create. Does this make sense? We can grasp that? Excellent. So energy is one thing to hyper-focus on. And I'm just going to give you leverageable assets. things that you can leverage like real estate, that when utilized to improve your life, optimal change happens, optimal occurrences, not mediocre, not just little, oh, well, I started smiling more, and so it had an impact on my life. Well, yeah, of course, but wouldn't you smile more if your energy was higher? No choice. So leverageable assets, not just the symptoms. Is it okay that we talk about just a few things that could change your entire life, all the way across the board? Excellent. It's almost unfair that I waited till principle 47, but there's so many other principles that are so powerful that have to come first, because that's how the mind works. The mind has to see these tangibles before I can take you into a space of intangibles. The first 25 wealth principles are still mindset. It's all mindset, but they're more technical. There's more involvement in than tangible, like wealth principle number 1, which is think a million. Wealth principle 2, choose a business that can make $1 million. If your business does not have the potential to make $1 million, you are going to pivot quickly. We agree? Yes. Everybody knows. Hands to the camera if you know you're in a business that can make $1 million. Hands to the camera if you know for sure other people in this business have made $1 million. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. You chose wisely. Year 1, it may not seem like a bad deal if you make 75,000 or 100,000, but year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, you're still making the same amount of money. Either one or two things has happened. 1, you chose the wrong business. I hope that's the reason, because you can pivot out. Or 2, you chose to stay mediocre. You chose to stay exactly the same in your lane, doing the same thing you've done for the last 5 years. Who here knows what that's like? Maybe the last 10 years, same exact income, bouncing between $5,000, $10,000, right? I did. Is it okay if I tell a story before I dive into the next part of the principle? I know exactly what that's like, because for 10 years, from the time that I was 22 to the time that I was, well, it was from the time that I was 20 to the time that I was 32, I had made just about the same income, just about. And at 31, no, it was a little younger than that. It was actually 30 years old. I had finally made $100,000. At 30 years, also no, 7 years of making the same money. So 7 years of $40,000. Who here thinks 40,000 would actually be good? Right? It's actually okay. That'd be an improvement. That's okay, right? So I apologize for where I grew up. 40,000 was decent. It was mediocre. It was getting by. It was the same as everybody else. And so I thought I was doing okay until one day I snapped. Something happened. I was cutting the grass in my yard. I was driving an hour to work every day to get to work, and sitting in an office for 8 hours, which I hated. And something snapped where I said, I'm the Lord of the land. And I had a little chuckle, and then I realized I'm the Lord of paying bills. I'm the Lord of a mortgage. I'm the Lord of, I got to fix everything in this house by myself. And I realized rich people don't fix their own stuff. Rich people don't cut their own grass. The wealthy are not going to work. They're not sitting an hour in a commute to work for somebody else who has a boss, 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 who really just doesn't care about my growth and wants to just move on and get out of the office as soon as they possibly can. Can anybody relate to this? Ever had an experience like this? The problem was I was a distracted person. I was somebody who thought that the little things around me, my ideas, my thoughts, in the books I was reading were not the books that I read now. The books, the TV shows, the cell phone, the entertainment, the video games that I was playing. I have not played a video game since Skyrim back then. Who here knows what that game is? Answer the camera if you're nerdy enough to know, right? So I was obsessed with all these little distractions, with what my wife thought, what my friends thought, what my parents thought, with what everybody that I met thought. Distracted, little thing. And when they gave me a cookie and they said, oh, wow, we really like that about you, I was like, oh my God, like dopamine hit. Got it, right? all of these people's opinions mattered to me terribly. All of these distractions in my life, when somebody liked something that I posted, when somebody posted something that I was interested in, man, like Wikipedia had me for hours. I just thought I'm an information buff. Who knows? They love information, just love to grab knowledge, right? Distracted. I was distracted by all this random knowledge, not focused knowledge, not super valuable. It was just stuff. Now, if you listen to me speak about the moon or gravity or the planets and chemistry, it makes you seem like, wow, this guy knows a lot. But that's never earned me $1. It's never made my life better. Does that make sense? Now, I still love this stuff. I love the concept of, space travel. I love like what Elon Musk does. I get excited, but now I'm thinking about Elon Musk building a business. Does that make sense? A business of impact. Whereas 7 years ago, I was just thinking about, well, what would it look like on Mars? How would the atmosphere be? And what would the science be? And when they landed the rover out there, I was excited on a level that, it was outside of my sphere of control. And I had no intention of ever being involved. Right? It was this disconnection, this low level of energy, of low level of playing in life. Or when big things were happening, I was just a perceiver, an observer, and a viewer. Does that make sense? In this country, the biggest problem we have when it comes to hyper-focus and moving you towards your goals is voyeurism. We like to watch other people be successful. We like to watch other people suffer, have great experiences. We like to watch other people fail. We like to watch other people succeed. Who can relate to that experience? Oh, yeah, it's amazing. It's the best feeling in the world because we get the dopamine hit without any actual activity. Don't have to leave our couch. I can watch somebody save a goat, and I can watch a cat throw a glass off the sink within seconds, back to back. I can watch squirrels figure out how to get the nut from across the fence. I can watch a mother cry. I can watch a father go and save a pet out of a burning building. I can have all of these experiences within a minute, 2 minutes. Does this make sense? Yes. Dopamine. It's the reason you don't have the money that you're looking for right now. It's the reason you don't have the relationship with your kids that you're looking for, that you really desire. It's the reason that you don't have the spouse of your dreams. And they may be right next to you, but you haven't built that opportunity for them yet. Does that make sense? It may be the reason that you don't have the real estate investments that you desire. You may be so distracted with evaluating, analysis paralysis. Who knows, they've suffered from this at some point. So it may be, in reality, the distractions that are stopping you from focusing. Your addiction to distractions, your addiction to doing less and experiencing more. Feeling productive, feeling like you're getting somewhere, feeling like something is happening, but nothing's actually happening. Who's heard of the 80-20 principle, Pareto's principle, 80-20 rule? 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. And 20% of your actions are coming from results are coming from 80% of your activities. And so Pareto's principle states that you can, if reviewing your life properly, eliminate 80% of the activity that you do every day. You want an increase of your income, remove 80% of the garbage from your life and increase the 20% that is working. Increase the 20% that is working in all aspects, everything. You look at your stock portfolio. Who has a stock portfolio? Hands to the camera if you have a stock portfolio, 401k, retirement plan. Excellent. So money out in paper assets. So you look at your stock portfolio. I guarantee you look at it today, and you can do this after the call. You look at it today. 80% of your results come from 20% of your stocks. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. We got a financial advisor on the call. Ryan McDermott, is it fair to say that of the 8,000 products that people could invest in, well, it's like 7,600 if you go national, but 3,000 products that are local, domestic, United States currency. Of those 3,000, FANG wins everything. Do we agree? FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, Tesla now.
Currently today.
Currently today, that's how it sits. And today is December 19th. And we know that of everything out there, it's not just 80-20. It's the 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20. It's 1%. 1% of the stock market is crushing it. 1% of real estate investors are crushing it. 1% of business owners are absolutely crushing it. 1% of spouses are absolutely crushing it. 1% of fitness gurus are crushing. Who's seen a fitness guru who's out of shape? Answer the camera, seen them on Instagram. They're like, you should do push-ups like I do. Like, I don't know if I want that style. It's not working. That one doesn't work, I'm pretty sure.
Dad bod's in.
Dad bod's not in. No. Mediocrity is cool, right? People think that mediocrity is okay. It is not. Be in the 1%. Challenge yourself. Look at the 80-20. Hyper focus on the good things. Cut out distractions. Now, I'm not saying I own 2 of these. Does that mean I'm twice as distracted? How could I be so successful if I own 2 and I have twice as much opportunity for those screens to be on? Would anybody want some tips on how to hyper focus, how to get away from the distractions? Would that be valuable? Turn off all notifications. Write it down. Turn off all notifications. There is nothing in the world that is happening that matters when you're focused on something important. Does that make sense? I was watching a video this morning to talk about hyperfocus. In this video, the gentleman starts and he says, I started my day off and I heard notifications. It was my cell phone. I went over and I noticed somebody liked my Twitter post. And then I read the Twitter post. And then there was a thing that came up from LinkedIn and I didn't read it because it's LinkedIn. I never read LinkedIn. So then I jumped over to Facebook and there was a whole bunch happening on Facebook. And I thought, okay, excellent. I'm gonna get my day started. And then my wrist buzzed. And I said, what is that? What's going on? I recognized the stock market was about to move. It hadn't even opened, but they were always sending me notifications about what happened the night before. And I got a little notification on my wrist. I said, okay, wow, whew. Wow, I'm glad I looked at that. And on to the next. And it was just scream after scream after scream in his head. And his iPad was there. And, you know, he placed his iPad right where his kitchen is so that he could start his morning and get that nice distraction so that while he's getting his meal going, his mind doesn't have a chance to disconnect and think for a moment. It's distraction after distraction, keeping it moving, keeping it flowing. And then as soon as he got away from the kitchen, it was turn the TV on because, you know, you got to catch the news. Because if you don't, you got to know what's going on in the world. Because if you don't know what's going on in the world, you might be one of those people who doesn't know. And that's very dangerous, isn't it? It feels scary to be one of those people who just doesn't know what's going on. And so what he created for himself was an exercise where he stopped. He stayed away from this for an entire month. Stayed away from it for an entire month. And then he had to cut it down to 30 minutes. Who could even imagine 30 minutes of touching your phone? That's it. It's all you get. 30 minutes to make the phone call to mom, to make the phone call to your business partners, to go and jump on and check the stocks and check your Twitter feed or your Instagram feed or your YouTube videos, to watch Walter Amarillo on Saturday. Like, that's all you get. 30 minutes, all the content to consume for the entire day. Who knows that their life would be different? Yeah, it would change dramatically. Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying that everything that you do is a waste of time, but I can guarantee you that 80% of it is stopping you from becoming a millionaire. I can guarantee you, if you're not already a millionaire, 80% of the things that you do is stopping you from moving forward. 80%. That's a lot of time. If you think about the hours in a day, that means for 4 hours, you're probably being effective. 4 hours it's like 4.5 hours are probably being used properly. You know what those 4 hours probably are? Sleep. You're probably asleep during those 4 hours. And then for about an hour, you're probably awake, because sleep is important. Sleep allows the mind to focus, to relax, to ease. And so the first few minutes that you're awake are pretty powerful, aren't they? Who knows, like those few minutes in the shower, few minutes of just haven't really ramped up yet, are where your best thoughts are. Who's had that experience? Hands to the camera if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then right before bed, it's like, all right, got to calm down a little bit, think about different things, and a flash will come across your mind. A little flash, just this little moment of clarity, moment of, if you don't write it down, it's gone. But for a moment, something just got solved. Hands to the camera if you know what I'm talking about. That little moment right before bed, and that moment right when you wake up, and that moment in the shower where there's no other distractions, those little moments, maybe when you're driving and you haven't turned the radio on yet, that little bit of clarity that sneaks its way in, that's power. That's focus. That for a moment is when your mind says just one thing, just one thought, one focused element to become better, to move to the next level, where you finally connect with the universe just for a little bit, because most people all day long are fighting the opportunity to be connected to the universe, fighting the infinite knowledge, the ultimate energy. Most people spend most of their time disconnected as they possibly can be, because it's painful to have all the answers and realize it's all up here. It's terrifying to know that your life is the way it is because you chose it to be. It's scary to realize that if you only ever just for a moment focused on what you truly want, you'd have it. And the reason you don't have what you want is because you never focused on it. You never hyper-focused on it. If you've read The Science of Getting Rich, hands to the camera. Science of Getting Rich. Awesome. The principle in The Science of Getting Rich is think about what you want. Step one, think. The scariest thing for the human mind. The scariest thing is to control your thoughts. Think about something valuable. Think for a moment about something that you truly want. Hyper focus on it. We'll do an exercise right now. Who wants to do an exercise? Hands to the camera. Know that this would be the most valuable thing you did all day. Yes? Excellent. For this next 30 seconds, I want you to focus. Some of you may have to close your eyes. Some of you can keep them open. However focus comes to you clearly. Focus and raise your energy. Increase it higher to the highest that you can at the moment. Increasing your energy. Focusing on the ideal life. Focus on the taste of the food, the smell of the sounds, the people that are around you that you choose to spend your time with. Focus on your clothes. Focus on the clothing, the car, the experience, the location. Where are you? Focus on it. Improve the clarity of it. Really intensify it. The amount of money in your bank account, the work that you do, the joy you feel in every step, every moment of your day, hyper focusing, intensifying the gravity toward it, being pulled toward this reality, being pulled as if there was no way you could escape the fact this is your truth. This is really what you want, who you are internally, the true you, the person who for a moment is very aware of who they are very clearly, very powerfully, feeling that experience, hyper focusing on it. And for a moment, you recognize, wow, this person's really cool. This person inside of me has this ability, the desire, the drive to get to this point in life. And the only thing stopping me is saying yes to it, committing to this life, committing to this success. Hold it. For the next 20 seconds, just write it down real quick. Write it down. Bullet points. Doesn't have to be details, just a bullet point, something clear. Whatever came to you. It doesn't have to be the whole plan, just something, one feeling, one emotion. The thing that came to you the most clear, the thing that moved you the most, whatever that was, write it down. Give yourself this gift. Give yourself this opportunity to be hyper-focused on your success right now, this one thing. Little thing, doesn't have to be big. For some of you, all you may have felt was an emotion. All you may have felt was a feeling, a little piece of energy. For some of you had clear, vivid vision. It depends on how much time you've spent with your inner mind. If you've only spent a short time, don't expect to be a monk. Don't expect to have seen all future clarity. If you've only spent a short period of time with who you are, don't expect full vision of the future. But if you have spent time in meditation, spent time with yourself, spent time with your thoughts and your clarity of vision, then you may have seen more. And that's okay. You've got an advantage over other people. And if you aren't one of those people, then that's okay too, because you had this experience today. And recognize that you want an advantage over other people. Hands to the camera if that makes sense. It would be more powerful to have more power over this amazing, beautiful thing in between your ears. This mind stuff, this opportunity machine on your shoulders. When COVID occurred, I got excited. I mean, when it went down, I was like, dude, I get to spend all my time writing books, creating assets. I'm going to go and expand the website. We're going to drop out more videos. We're going to go intense on our virtual calls. That was week 3 of COVID. Week 1, I was like, no, I do live events. We can't stop this. We got to do our thing. Like, everybody come to the live event. Don't worry about, we'll wear masks. We'll do whatever we got to do. And then the governor, Charlie Baker, said, shut it down. No, not safe, unhealthy. Let's not do that. Do things virtually. And for a week, I asked for the answers. For a week, I said, there's got to be something here. There's got to be an opportunity in this craziness. If I was this scared, I got a mind to steal. If I was this scared, the world must be terrified, which means there must be opportunities. Yeah, scaredy cat. There must be opportunities presenting right now. If everybody else is terrified, what am I missing? What is the opportunity? What is the grab? Because everything is an opportunity. And what I found was it was Facebook ads. In those couple of weeks, nobody was marketing. Nobody was marketing. The restaurants weren't marketing. The businesses weren't marketing. I pushed Facebook ads harder than I'd ever pushed Facebook ads. And I took market share. Does that make sense? In those few weeks, that was the only play I had at the moment. I said, let's go big. And when we realized this wasn't changing, we added event after event after event, and we didn't do it monthly. I went weekly. I do more events now. Each week, I do 360 events each week. That is more than most people will do in their entire lifetime. Public speakers will do 2-3 events a year, right? The average public speaker jumps on a stage 2-3 times. The killers, the guys crushing it will be on 100. We're talking like 100. And the champions, the 1%, will do 360 speaking engagements a year. Does that make sense? 360 a week. Stepped it up to another level, a level that I'd never touched before, a level that every day when I wake up, I think, man, I've got to stay tight on the schedule, because if I don't, something will slip. Does that make sense? While everybody else was at home saying, oh, I hope it goes back to normal. I hope things go back to normal. And if you've ever experienced that, it's okay. That just makes you normal. When everybody's a little afraid, and who here has heard the words, when things go back to normal? Who's heard that before from somebody? Like this week, like a year later, they're still like, when things go back to normal. This is normal. This is normal. It's okay. Wake up. This is our opportunity. This is your opportunity right now to jump on something new that you've never done before. Ron and I were talking about the future, the way things are moving forward. A year ago, 2 years ago, we were talking about eventually we'll have to go Zoom. Eventually we'll have to go virtual. There's ways, there's tools, there's things we can do. We'll spend more time in the internet world than we are in the real world. And that is the future. We were looking at it 5, 10, 15 years from now, saying eventually our company's going to have to adjust this way. That is the goal. That's where we're going to have to move. COVID just snapped 10 years of technology into the future. It just said, here we are. We're in 2030 technology-wise. Because we had to be, because the human race was forced into spending less time around each other. Does that make sense? And you can see it everywhere. You can see that the stocks that are rising are stocks that allow that. The companies that are crushing it are taking market share because they provide what the millennial generation is looking for. Less in-person contact and more virtual contact, more stimulus. We say, right, millennials, we're constantly saying this. All of us old folks, all of the baby boomers for sure say it. We say, these kids, just instant gratification. All millennial wants is immediate gratification. You know, they can't think long-term enough to save money for a house. Excellent. Real estate investors, we think long term. We have the advantage. We don't mind saving for a house. When I watch stocks go crazy, I just think I'm going to ramp up my business. It may take me a few months, but when I do catch up, I'll catch up with more money than anybody else is tossing in there. I'll just make up for the losses. Does that make sense? All right. When I look at the stock market, I say, I want to have more play. When Bitcoin doubles, I'm like, I want more exposure. Well, what play do I have? If I don't have the cash in the moment, I can borrow, I can lend, or I can increase my business. So next time this opportunity arises, I'll have more money than I could ever dream of. So then I can play the game at a bigger level. I remember this feeling in 2008. 2008, I knew nothing. I knew no one. I knew nobody. When it came to real estate, I had a house and that was it. And in 2008, I had a house that was underwater. Literally, I just bought it and boom, the next day underwater. And when I looked around and I saw all the properties in 2009, 2010, 2011, my whole neighborhood was valued lower than my house. And I looked around at the opportunities. I made a commitment to myself. I don't care if it takes 5 years. I don't care if it takes 7 years. I don't care if it takes 10 years. When this next crash comes around, I will have more money than God. I'll make sure I have all the money to do all the deals I can humanly figure out and grab, because I refuse to be in this position again 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now. Hands to the camera if you were around then and you remember what that feeling was like, had that experience, that exact experience, investors who saw it. And it's okay if you were an investor who didn't see it, right? But 2008 changed my life. It was a moment of not having the ability to make a play, not being able to make a move, seeing the opportunity and not having that option. Does that make sense? So if you were given the gift this year to see an opportunity in March, but you didn't have the money to play in March, if you were given the gift to see the opportunity that just occurred in November, in December, you were given the gift to see it, and I implore you to hyper-focus on one thing. Make sure that next time you're prepared to take action on it. It's not about complaining about a lost opportunity. Other opportunities will come. They will be here. They will show up for you, not to you, for you. Everything in life does not happen to you. It happens because opportunity is being created for you. It happens for you. COVID was an opportunity for me. Does that make sense? Your pain in your life, the worst thing that's ever happened to you, is an opportunity for you. Who knows? I go back to my pain points every so often to remember why I'm still here, to remember why I still do this. Motivates me. I heard The Rock say once that at some point he had $3 in his pocket and he will never go back to that. Dwayne Johnson, who knows who The Rock is? If you're some, yeah, shine it up real nice. The Rock, think about it. That hero, that superhuman that who we see on TV doing things that most of us could never do, unless we got hyper focused about never being back in a place of pain, of scarcity, of being back in a place where we couldn't have the things that we want. Does that make sense? Hyper focus on the pain for a moment, and then launch, because you need to know where you're not going back. It's very important to have a direction of not going. If you drive on a road and you see the arrows that point in a direction, know to go in that direction. Don't go against the arrows. Does that make sense? If the arrows were all like this, especially if they're really close to each other, stop faster and adjust in the direction of the arrows. The rules are the rules because they are the rules, right? When life throws you signs, pay attention. If your bank account is going down, why is that happening? Why are you allowing it? Change. If the stocks are going down, if your real estate is going down, what can you do to improve? What can you do to change your environment? Don't worry about the outer economy. Do we speculate about the outer economy? Of course, it's fun. We do that for fun. We speculate the future for fun. But when we talk about our businesses, our investments, we're not speculating. We stick to what we know has happened over and over and over. Who here knows that they need a place to sleep tonight? Hands at the camera. If you know for sure you're sleeping with a place that has a roof over you, I don't care if it's a tarp, but you know you're going to be something under something tonight, yes? Guaranteed, consistent, excellent. How about food? Tomorrow, eating something? Probably in the next couple of hours. Food will pass your lips, yes? What about water? Liquid? Drinking something? Yes? Hasn't stopped for centuries. These things are consistent. We call them consumable products. Apartments, food, drink, oxygen. These are consumable products. You need them. Cannot live without them. Food, shelter, right? Be in a business that services one of those. Another business is dopamine. Who's a drug dealer out there? Where my hands at, you drug dealers? Come on now. Believe it or not, each one of you is a drug dealer. Every time you're begging for somebody's attention, every time you're begging somebody to pay attention to you for a little bit, you're either a drug dealer or an addict. Every single time. You think your children, right? Look at your children. Man, fiends. That all they want is attention. Who said that about their kids? Who knows kids who all they want is attention? Who's seen them? Who's seen kids? Yeah? Awesome. Every day you go out, you have that drug in your hand. Every day you go out and you give somebody a smile or you give them a compliment, you're giving them a hit. You're giving them a little bit of what they're looking for. If you give them a little, salespeople, hands to the camera if you're in sales, hyper focus on this strategy. All right. If you're going to hyper focus on something, hyper focus on this strategy right here. Be kinder. Be a little kinder to the people that are out there. Just a little kinder. Free kindness. I'm not talking about like, don't go buy everybody a diamond ring. You know, I'm not saying, hey, everybody gets roses. What I'm suggesting is everybody gets a smile. They make eye contact with you. And here's another one. Eye contact. Yeah. Throw it out there. It's for free. Nobody charges for it. All right. But that eye contact could change somebody's life, could change somebody's day. A little empowerment, a little compliment, a little juice in the system. Hit them with that dopamine. If you know that you could have an impact on somebody's life, give it to them. It's for free. It doesn't cost you anything. Does that make sense? And if you hyper focus on improving people's lives, and you hyper focus on improving people's lives who have what you want, whatever it is. I surround myself with people who have amazing relationships with their spouses. I surround myself with people who have amazing relationships with their children. I surround myself with people who have amazing relationships with money. I surround myself with people who have amazing relationships with their bodies, with health. Does that make sense? And then I make sure that those people know that I admire those traits in them so that those traits become stronger in them, so that they live a little longer, so that they have a little bit more money, relationships, health. And in return, what do you think I receive? Health, wealth, the best relationships. You want to improve your life, improve your energy, increase your energy at all times. You want to improve your life, focus on your future, focus on where you want to be, focus on gratitude for what you've already accomplished, for where you are today. And if you really want to skyrocket and leverage these three assets, then focus on letting other people know that they're pretty awesome. Find the thing in the person in front of you that is pretty awesome. Everybody's got something. Even if this person is a complete dick, man, you crush that shit. Like, you are just really good at doing things that I don't like. I've never seen anybody before master that skill. I had to tell Dorina last night, I said, you're really good at finding awkward situations for me to walk in. I mean, it was cold in Florida, believe it or not. It was like 45 degrees outside. And she found the coldest night there was to go for a walk. and not just a normal walk, because, you know, she's leaving for Russia in a few hours. So I wanted to spend some time with her and make it special. And she wanted to spend some time with me, dopamine, right? Just give her a little hit, be like, all right, you know, I'm pretty awesome. You're right. Okay, I get it. And man, it was a cold walk and a long walk because the place we wanted to go didn't have room for us. And business owners, be careful of this. We we said, hey, we'd like to spot. And they said 45 minutes. I was like, it's cold outside. 45-minute wait. And I told Doreen, I was like, Doreen, I bet you somebody else wants our business right now. Somebody else wants our presence to be there with them right now. Let's go. Let's leave. Let's walk. And she was set on it, but we walked. We went anyway. And it was a long walk because it was cold and it was like 9:00 at night and things were shutting down here in Tampa Bay. And as we were walking, the walk got longer and I started complaining a little bit because I don't like walking so much, but she does. So I surround myself with people who like healthy things, and it was getting colder and the walk was longer. And the conversation got to the point where she and I were no longer having a good time. It was not fun. We were like a little mad at each other. She was mad at me for complaining about the cold and the walk. And I was mad at me for complaining about the cold and the walk because I know that I control my energy. Does that make sense? And as we both walked, I got madder at me and she got madder at me. And so she and I were teaming up on me at the same time, making sure that I knew that I was supposed to be happier and life could be better if I just made a decision to make it better. And after what felt like 5 miles, it was like ran a 10K out there. We end up at this restaurant with absolutely nobody there. Absolutely not a soul except for the bartender, Ron. I already liked that name. So we sat with Ron for a little while and he mixed a phenomenal drink that Doreen did not like because it had milk in it. And because Tony Robbins says no milk and Mike Schein says no milk and Mike Schein trumps Tony Robbins every day of the week, Doreen said, I'm not drinking this. And I looked over at Ron and I was like, Ron, I am so sorry for what's about to happen, but this little Russian princess is not happy. We're about to leave. We got to go. We're going to go back to the cold and we're going to walk back home. And I am not going to apologize because I'm smarter than that. I'm going to let her know that she was right. I'm not going to say I'm sorry. I'm going to let her know that she was right and that this is how I am. It is a part of me and I'm working on it. I don't apologize for who I am, and you shouldn't either. Never apologize for who you are, but know that you could be better. Know that every day you make a mistake, you could be better. You could improve something. And I'm not saying that I don't love you just the way you are, because I do. I wouldn't hang out with you if I didn't. I think that the way you are is working. It's gotten you this far. It's gotten you to this community. It's gotten you to be the person who knows you can grow, who's at least learning about your energy, at least learning about becoming a millionaire, at least not afraid of what wealth might bring. Whereas any other person, when I walk out wearing this shirt, 100 Millionaires, I scare people. When they see this shirt and I say I'm looking to build 100 Millionaires, they get, whoa, keep the money away. Not around here, you shyster, you money-making fiend. Like we don't want you selling no products. Do you know what I'm talking about? How those people exist? Like if you say $1 million, they're like, yeah, if the lottery happens, the odds are like 1 in a billion. I like better odds. You know the odds of becoming a millionaire if you buy 5 houses and you hold on to them for 30 years? Do you know what the odds are? 100% every time, all the time. You buy 5 houses and you hold them for 30 years. Pay like 5 houses, hold them for 30 years. If you can hold on to them for 30 years, it means you paid the mortgages or tenants paid the mortgages. You hold them for 30 years. Millionaire. Does that make sense? Qualification, those houses have to be maintained in decent shape. You have to maintain them and keep the tenant in there happy, right? I mean, there are some qualifications to real estate. Be a decent human being, right? Just like make sure your stuff is fixed. Make sure you're collecting rent. But if you hold those houses for 5 years and keep them in decent shape, anywhere across the country, 5 houses would make you a millionaire. As long as when you bought them, they were worth at least $100,000. At least $100,000. 5 houses, $100,000, 30 years of appreciation. Hands to the camera know that 30 years of appreciation will make those houses $1 million. And then and here's the other qualification. Pay off your mortgage. You get 30 years to pay off your mortgage. Make sure it's all paid off. Does this make sense? Could you Could you, if you put effort into it, find a scenario where this wouldn't work? Is it possible? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. We'll call that the 5%. The 5% who could find the wrong houses. There are 5% out there who could find the wrong properties, who could mess this deal up. But let's just say the real estate stays the way it has for the last 30 years, for the last 3,000 years, for the last 6,000 years, where real estate is the thing that you need to live in and that people are willing to pay to live in that real estate. Let's assume that worst case scenario, you buy a house under 100,000 and for some reason it doesn't appreciate enough. Don't do that. Do the other thing where you buy the house, it's worth $250,000. Buy the house, it's worth 200,000. Buy the house, it's worth 100,000. Buy the house, it's worth 150 and rent it out. And then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And just pay off your mortgage and raise the rent.
Okay, can I have a balance on it as well?
Like is possible. Hold on, let me just mute that line. Like is possible for anybody, and you can be rich. Do we agree? So selling the concept of becoming a millionaire in 3 to 5 years is truth. It's reality. Building the habits that can get you there is what the mentorship is all about. The product I sell that is my time, that costs me time to show up for you, I charge for. This, I also charge for, but you didn't get charged. And if you did, it's because you came through one of my funnels that cost me money to get you here. Does that make sense? If you paid $100 to be here, it's because you cost me money to show up. I had to spend money to get your attention. And if you're here for free, it's because you came to me naturally through one of my natural ease of use marketing strategies. Does that make sense? I will teach for free if you can find me. But if it costs me money to find you, I have to charge. Does that make sense? If it costs me, I put the investment to catch up to you first. The fact that you saw me on Meetup, the fact that you saw me on Facebook, the fact that you're out there in LinkedIn or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or Twitter. The fact that you saw me or know about me means I put out energy first. I paid it forward first. I already put it out there. And if you want more of my time, and it costs me time, which is the most precious thing that I have, because I've got money. I'm a millionaire. I'm a multimillionaire. So I'm not looking for more money for me to go spend. Yes, I take every dollar I get and I reinvest because it's fun for me. I love gaining and playing the game at another level. But from this coaching, I reinvest all that in finding more of you, because the coaching is just a source of money to spend on marketing, because I make my money on investing with people who have money. Does that make sense? And so the mentorship, what I charge is to teach you, take my time to teach you how to become a millionaire so you can invest with me, so you can play in the investment arena that I'm playing in. The more money you have, the more money we can go and invest in a big deal, right? Who knows that I offered 10% of the company last week? This Thursday, I offered 10% of the company to a select few investors. That was so that you could invest with me. And so I can get to my ultimate goal of a real estate investment trust, which pays a dividend for me and my other 100 millionaires for years and years and years and years, because I couldn't invest in a REIT that paid me more than 12%. I couldn't find one that was really stable, that I really liked, that paid more than 12%. BRG is by far my favorite REIT, but if you look, the dividend yield right now is 6%. When I was looking at them in March of 2020, the dividend was 11%. Man, it was an amazing deal. But I didn't have nearly enough cash to live the lifestyle that I wanted at the time. And so I had to commit to a capital improvement in my life. Does that make sense? And as I've done this, I realized if I can build this business that I have today to be the REIT, that I'm already invested in, my return on investment is infinite, right? Because if I invest at, say, we have our money in it right now, so it's a $5 million company, and this company becomes a $10 million company, a $20 million company, we continue to double like we always have, 40, 80, 160, 320, and we get it to be the $1 billion company that we're aiming for. The return on investment, when the dividend yield for our normal investors is 8 to 12%, then our dividend yield is infinite. Does that make sense? because our money's already out of it. He and I have already made our money out of this company, and we just keep growing it and expanding it. And so is it okay that I committed for a 10-year plan to go and basically create this company and sell it at some point? Is it okay that for the next 10 years, somebody will be running trainings like this? It may not be me, but I'm setting up the team, the 100 millionaires who will run these trainings, who will teach the next generation to run these trainings, teach the next generation to run these trainings, making a ton of money. Each one of them will make money by teaching people how to invest. The real estate agents, the insurance agents, the attorneys, the lawyers, the lenders, the appraisers, the property managers, the people who are connected, the contractors who are connected to our business as we expand. Everybody makes money. That's what this is all about. Mike Schein, we've got a book of the week every week. Every single week, Mike Schein presents us with a book because Mike reads more than a book a week. More than a book a week. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 books. Mike Schein, what is the book of the week?
Book of the week is The One Thing, subtitled The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results. And this is we always talk about the Foundational 5 and how you should be reading the Foundational 5 plus Walter's book, Broke to $250,000. But you could keep this as the Bible and just crush it. And I thought it was great what Walter said about the 80-20 principle, because 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. And the one thing actually hyper focuses, which is the name of this wealth principle, hyper focuses the 80-20 principle that says, what is the one thing that you can do today such that all of the things are easier or even unnecessary? And you could really take the one thing as a Bible, run with it. If you just held this, kept it with you, put it on your Audible, and just by this book, you would crush it. You would absolutely crush it. It's an amazing book. It's not a very long book. It has all sorts of concepts in there that I can't go over right now, but it's amazing. This is Gary Keller Williams, one of the biggest real estate firms in the world. I highly recommend The One Thing. Thank you.
Let's give Mike Schein a round of applause. Mike Schein is wearing the 100 Millionaire shirt because Mike is also committed to making 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. The mission is big. The mission is really big. It's a long-term strategy. Hell yeah. And Mike Schein is a millionaire looking to give back. He's a very intelligent investor. I did not know how intelligent he was an investor until last week, until the week before. Every single week, he surprises me with some sort of new skill that I just didn't know was there. Right about 2 years ago, I was a little over a year ago, I started being impressed with Mike. About a year ago, every single time he'd have an interaction with me. Every single week, I'd learn a little bit something that he knew that I was impressed with. Does that make sense?
Feelings mutual. Feelings mutual.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no way. Big round of applause for Walter. We got to get it in. Walter, push it in.
Thank you. And it's been an experience. Same with Mitch. I did not know Mitch was such a big guy in crypto. I had no clue until a few months ago. We started talking about Bitcoin. It's like, I wrote a book on cryptocurrency, knowing what the heck crypto was, knowing what the heck Bitcoin was. And I wasn't aware. I didn't realize he was so heavy into crypto. I didn't know he was a day trader for years. I had no clue that he was a king of poker. Like, these are things that I learn as I get to know these gentlemen better. Ryan McDermott, I had no clue that he was like the king of ClickFunnels. You would never know that a financial advisor would consider marketing such an aggressive strategy. And I learn more about him every day. Doug McGurk, Tony Robbins, like the time that Doug spent with Tony, I did not know for almost over a year, he and I were in the same mastermind together, like meeting up every 2 months, flying all over the country together, spilling our guts about our businesses and our lives and what we want to create for ourselves and masterminding with each other. And a year into it, I find out that he toured with Tony Robbins. He just says it as a fly comment. I'm like, what? What do you mean? The Tony Robbins? Like, actually, like, you talked to the guy? He's like, yeah, I got a cell phone. Really? Amazing. Amazing. the knowledge you learn from people, right? Melanie in our group, I had no clue she owned Subways until she told me one day. I'm like, son, really, that too? There's a lot of investment. There's a lot of things going on there. And Melanie just put another Subway under agreement. Let's give Melanie a round of applause. Let's give all of our coaches a round of applause, our millionaires. Darina surprises me all the time with these little secret pieces of knowledge that I know she had. You know, you think she's just like a pretty real estate agent and with a cute Russian accent. And then you find out she owns 3 buildings in Worcester. You find out that she's done her own renovation projects, or that she, worked these different jobs with all these different skills. And she's super valuable when we're out because she knows things. She understands things I don't have experience or exposure to. Ron Bowling, I have been a business partner. We have meetings every week for 4 hours for years, invested together. He still surprises me. I'm still impressed with things he knows. I mean, he just got VR goggles and he still hasn't mined Bitcoin. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, get on the blockchain, bro. In fact, I heard about Bitcoin from Ron 3 years ago. I should have invested then. We both should have.
Should have.
But we didn't know. We didn't know how big it was going to be.
Don't forget Terry Wager. Don't forget Terry Wager.
I'm going to let Terry speak in a second. So this is my lead
Even
up.
better. We're very protective of each other, the coaches.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's give all of our coaches and Mike Schein a round of applause for being so valuable to this community, adding value every single week, making sure you have one of the 52 weeks, one of the books. Terry, also in the same mastermind as Doug and some of our other coaches. And Terry Wager, he and I, in fact, I remember the conversation. He and I were talking about NLP. We were talking about hypnosis. And Terry said, we got to work together. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, we got to. And I didn't have a coaching program at the time. And Terry's was more towards emotional mastery and hypnosis. And he was doing stage shows. And I wasn't doing any shows or any training other than the occasional YouTube video to train real estate agents on how to increase their business. And it took us 2 years before we finally figured out this mesh of what works. And it's really, really good. We're having a huge impact. 80 people on the call right now. Give yourselves a round of applause for being dedicated to your own success. Patrick Sullivan with his Rubik's Cube, right? I remember the first time I met Patrick was we were in a success event, Black Diamond in Worcester, it was Worcester. And I'd driven up there an hour to go and meet great people. And after the event, I'm on my way out. I see Patrick hanging out with this other gentleman, and he's rocking the Rubik's Cube. And I said, I got to go over and see what this conversation's about, right? I know real estate investors are cool already. And Patrick blew me away. The guy who flies hot air balloons and invests in real estate and shaves his head the right way, has a phenomenal barber. I said, wow, this is a cool situation. I did not know that a year later I'd see him in Connecticut and connect and decide, okay, this guy's got to come in and do what we're doing. Weird how this works, right? Weird how all of it works. But when you hyper focus on one thing, the opportunities start attracting to you. Terry Wager, I'm going to run through all the coaches, and Patrick, if you're open to it, if you want to give some advice on this one as well, we'll go through the list. Terry, big tip for people looking to hyper focus. Hands to the camera if you're looking to hyper focus this weekend, change your life, get it to the next level. Awesome. Sign up for the mentorship if you haven't yet. Go to gualtermello.com, sign up. Darina's got a deal. Buy one, get one half off. So if you have a partner, somebody you'd like to move with you, or if you meet somebody in the room right now who you think could be a good partner for you, or you want to save some money, sign up for the mentorship. Ask Darina how to get it. Darina, put your information in the chat if you don't mind. Terry Wager, biggest piece of advice for people looking to hyper focus right now?
The biggest piece of advice is, Christine and my business changed when we started prioritizing. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We talk about it all the time. It's the thing that really moves you forward, is really prioritizing. And we have a tool that we created to help us prioritize our business for our year, for our month, for our week. and then for our day. And it's really about what is the most important thing for the day, for the hour that you're doing. And when you can really hyper focus on what's next, amazing things happen. Your life changes. And the great thing is, everything kind of funnels down into a moment. And when you can capture that moment and make progress in that moment, it just starts to snowball. So the more you get focused on your priorities, the more you understand how to do that and cut out all of the noise. That's what we were talking about all day long, is cutting out the noise so that you can focus on that one thing. And that's the most I can really talk about here, is that priority. What's next? And so I'll put that priority tool in, or Christine can put it in the chat. Download it, use it. It's a free gift. We want everybody to be using it because it has helped our business quadruple in the last year. So really, it's a game changer.
Let's give Terry a round of applause. Terry is the owner of Generator Coaching, in with Christine McGinley. They are the biggest asset that we throw at people's broke mindsets. So when I say I double your income, I mean Terry doubles your income. So you work with us, and in the mentorship, you get access to all of our coaches. And when you sit down with Terry, it's, okay, how do we do this? How do we double? And I appreciate all of the commitment and dedication that Terry and Christine put into the work with our students. You guys are the reason that people move forward over time. And it's just so powerful to watch. And I'm going to save the best for last. Mike Schein, you know who you are. Ryan McGovern, McDermott. Although Ryan McGovern, good to see you and your success. Ryan McDermott, I'd say you're second best. Let's see what your takeaway for hyper focus has been.
Well, I was pretty hyper focused the last 3 or 4 months on receiving this shirt, and I have to apologize for texting Dorina constantly about it. And thank you for delivering it. And I'm very proud to be wearing this today. Hyper focus for me, in my business, kind of as a financial planner, when we work with clients, oftentimes they come to us with an idea of an investment that they want to make, or an idea of some sort of tactic that they've heard about. There are hundreds of marketing messages that we receive all throughout the day, throughout the minute. From social media, from television, radio, everything. And what we sort of implore people to do is to get hyper focused on the overall strategy. The tactics, the products, the investments are absolutely important. If you don't have a strategy, a top-down strategy on how you're actually going to accumulate your wealth, you're really going to be sort of caught in a vortex of just reacting to things. And so that's something that we focus on. Anybody who's kind of had a coaching call with me recently, it's been sort of looking at efficiency in that way, and it's something I kind of encourage. So I'm going to throw my in the spirit of giving this year. I've got a little exercise that I'm willing to take anybody through. 45-minute call. It's free. And if you want, I'll put my information in the chat, and feel free to reach out to me. Thanks.
45-minute call. You are way too generous. Give Ryan a round of applause. Ryan is a Series 7 certified financial advisor. Is the only financial advisor that I know that doesn't charge you for the money that they take. So they don't make money from taking your money and just investing in whatever products they want. He actually charges for an evaluation of your finances. So Ryan, I like the way he evaluates, and he invests in real estate, believes in real estate. Most financial advisors want you to sell your real estate so they can take it and put it in stocks. Ryan says, well, hold on, let's look at the asset class. If you don't have exposure to real estate, you're missing an opportunity to become rich, and you're just protecting the wealth you already have. So Ryan, phenomenal. We love you in the community, man. Thank you for everything that you do. Mitch Jaworski, the Scaredy Cat Guide, and all of our celebrity coaches are cool. Most of them written books. I know Ryan and Mike are working on their books right now. Terry's is coming out in January with my book. Terry's book, we'll talk about in a second. Mitch Jaworski wrote the book, Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing and Scaredy Cat Guide to Knowing What the Heck Bitcoin Is. And he's got another book coming out, the Scaredy Cat Guide to Protecting Your 401k. And he's holding on my book, Broke to $250,000. So I appreciate you. Mitch, what would you say is your biggest tip or suggestion for hyper focusing?
Dude, I took notes. There was so many things you were just like hitting on. And I was like, all right, I want to interrupt, but I'm going to shut up and let him finish. So I love the fact that you talked about it only takes like 5 houses to basically guarantee you're a millionaire. The irony is it's even less depending on where you are. I did a presentation last year in South Florida using 3 houses, and that's because the average price of a home in South Florida is around $350,000. So all you need is 3 properties to become a millionaire in South Florida. And like you said, all you got to do is maintain it and collect rent. So I like when you throw out this is really how easy it is. And that's why we love real estate, because it is the easiest way to build wealth. It really is. I mean, you mentioned all the different things that I've invested in and whatnot, and hands down, real estate all day. If I was forced to only do one thing, it would be real estate. Also, you mentioned The Rock earlier, and I watched a video from him a while back, and he talks about, he was speaking to, I think it was a bunch of college athletes. I'm not sure what it was. And he's on the stage, and he literally walked to the back of the stage, and he had his back right against the wall. And he was talking about, this is the mentality I keep. This is how I stay on top. This is how I don't get complacent. This is how I keep grinding. And he's like, this is the mentality. And like his back's to the wall, like just like when you're first starting out, you know, and it goes back to that, like, you know, mindset of like treating things like when you're an intern, you know what I mean? Like think about how you work and focus on things when you're doing an internship compared to when you've become maybe the boss. So I think using that kind of helps you stay focused in, you're just pushing forward. And then me personally, like you always talk about your examples and whatnot, you know, and your stories. I mean, that's the only way I know how to do it, lead by example. So when you went through the practice of like, what can I do right now? What can I do in the next 2 hours? I thought about your presentation Thursday and how you're selling a piece of the company, right? Obviously I want to be part of that, but I'm like, all right, I have X amount of working capital. I already have that overextended with thankfully all the opportunities coming my way. How do I create capital to get into the South Coast investment? And now that has been like, that's my new laser focus. And like, there's multiple ways to solve that problem, and creating capital is one of them. So now I'm laser focused on essentially creating an additional at least 25K in capital over the next like 3 to 6 months, specifically to invest in South Coast. So that's like, you know, you kind of focus that, and then how do you get there? So, and I already have ideas that, you know, I won't get into, but that was just, I guess, for me personally, how it played out when you ran that exercise. And I'm hoping some other people, you know, had similar experiences.
Give Mitch Jaworski a round of applause. That is the reason that we presented in a time where we were not in need of money. So Ron and I went out and we presented, hey, this is the offering of our company. When we go and we require cash to go and do a deal, we can raise the capital the way we always have. But if we can bring our community in to increase your value with us, it sets the goal. The only reason I increase my income is because I like to play the game bigger. The only reason I go and grab more cash is because I have other investors I want to invest with. I want to play bigger. I want to be able to teach bigger. I want to get to that next level. And so I go and I increase cash so I can play on a bigger level. When Darina knows, Ron knows, when I increase cash, I don't really spend it. It doesn't go anywhere. Like I just put it back into the bank, or I put it back into investing in other funnels, other businesses, other stocks or currencies. And it's fun for me. You know, silver is a fun investment for me to hold. And I enjoy investing in this stuff. And the reason we open up different strategies to invest is because there's more people we could attract if we could just teach you how to invest in the way that you're interested in investing. Mitch Jaworski, I appreciate you, brother. And one strategy I came up with Darina the other day is go out and be an amazing real estate investor. Acquire a rental property that I want. Go out, acquire a rental property, and I'll take in that rental property and give you the equity in stock. Does that make sense? Go out, get to the point where you can't handle it anymore, and you say you want to retire, and I'll just acquire the properties you've already acquired and manage them and move those assets into the stuff that I think is better for the company. Does that make sense? There's a way to make money. There's a way to increase income. Go out, get a huge portfolio that you can't handle and bring it in and we'll handle it. and you'll still get equity in the company. You'll still be able to have your doubling with us as we increase and expand. You'll still have access and exposure to it, but no more of that management. The only thing is you're gonna have to wait until 2030 for us to go REIT status before we start paying a dividend, because it's about increasing income now, increasing cash, increasing size of company before we ask for the return on investment, increasing the goose, the size of the goose, the amount of eggs it can produce before we start feeding us. Does that make sense? Increase capital now so that in the future you can take a little bit and you'll never notice. The goose will still continue to grow. That's how investing works. It's delayed gratification for a time until the point where that delayed gratification has a business so big that you could take money from it and you'll never notice that money missing. Whereas most entrepreneurs get into this and they hyper focus on increasing income, and then they also hyper focus on spending all of it and bragging about the fact they spent it all. And look at me in my Lambo. Look at me and all the money I've spent. I'm doing awesome. Okay, well, how many assets do you still have? If you decide to stop working tomorrow, could that machine still run without you? Could it run without you? Could your income still be there? And if the answer is no, you don't have a business, you have a job. You have a liability. You have a potential business. You have the potentiality for a business, but you do not have a business that runs with you. A business is something you could sell. I'm not interested in buying anything I got to go work at. Does that make sense? But I'll buy something at a discount. I'll buy something that makes money. And if it makes enough money over what I'm paying, then I'll buy it at not a discount, right? I don't need a discount. I want cash flow. Does that make sense? Build your business to the point that I want it, and I'll acquire it and pay you stock options, and you'll have access to it. There's a lot of different ways to increase income. Those are just a couple. Mitch has a couple that he's thinking of right now. I know Mike Schein's got a couple he's thinking of. Ryan, Terry, all of our coaches, all of the people in the mentorship who were at the program, who watched me present our company and the future plans that I have for the next 10 years to expand and build it to $1 billion business in 8 years, in a $4 billion business in 10 years, a business that adds value to the community. Who knows if they'd like to see that presentation? It's about an hour long. And then our community at the end asks about 20 minutes worth of questions. Who knows that Millionaire questions are really good? Who'd like to hear what those questions were? Excellent. So if you do want to know, just drop your email in the chat and Darina will make sure that she sends out that video later on today. Or you could just directly message Darina. You could reach out to her via her cell or the link that she dropped earlier and ask for it directly. Successful people take action. Successful people, when they want something, they don't wait for somebody to give it to them. We were talking about that earlier with all of our students at the beginning of this. Successful people go out and ask for the sale. They say, hey, I want to be sold. Hey, bring it to me. Like, hey, I saw or noticed that you might hint at have this skill or option or ability or product. Can I please hear more about it? Successful people ask to be sold. I go out and I ask for the opportunity to be sold. I want to give money because I know when I give money, I get more money back. Because the only stuff I invest in is up here. The only thing I put my money in is this, whether it's a relationship with somebody or whether it's knowledge on how to expand this and get to the next level. That's the only thing you'll see me invest in. And I've gotten to a point where I don't just invest my money, I invest my time. I invest heavily my time in giving my mentors what they're looking for. The people that I'm leveling up with, I'm constantly asking. Who's watched my podcast, the Alchemist Nation podcast? A lot of those people are my mentors. A lot of those people I'm reaching out to saying, hey, how can I add value? Listen to the part at the end where I say, hey, if somebody was looking to help you out and get you to the next level, what's the project you're looking for or the project you're working on that you could use some help? Or if my audience could help you in some way, what would it be? That's my secret approach to finding out how I can add value to them. Does that make sense? Excellent. Excellent. Doug McGurk. Is Doug McGurk on the call? Doug is not on the call. Excellent. Darina, your big takeaway or your big piece of advice for hyper focus, for getting laser focused on your goals.
Thank you very much. Well, going back to our conversation last night and going back to this topic is that, we talk about that we want this thing in our life, this property, this car, this result, this number of sales and customers and blah, blah, blah. And you told me one thing yesterday, like, don't tell me what you want. I will see it because you're going to get it. So I think your real focus comes down to what you really want. And that book that Walter reads every single Sunday, The Science of Getting Rich, is really asking you to think what you really, really want. And once you want it, you will focus on it. There's no other way. So that's, yeah, like, oh, I want these things. Don't even mention that. Focus. And people will see that you really got them. Because it looks like think of what you have, because you focused on that. You have, a property or a problem or friends, because you focused on those things. That's why you have them. So
Very
focus
powerful.
what do you really, really want. And I'm going away to Russia. I will be available. Text, Zoom, WhatsApp, all of that's going to happen. Just no phone calls through Zoom. We can do it through Zoom. And that's my homework. I will be focusing on what I really, really want. And it's not that I don't know what I want, but what is the one thing that's the most crucial and necessarily and most value add. And I suggest we all do a New Year resolution. Just really think about what 2021 is going to look like for you and laser focus on that. And then we will see what you really wanted when you said you're going to do it.
Give Darina a round of applause. That is such a powerful statement. So true. And I am blessed to be able to spend so much time with a woman with such a powerful mind, such a strong mindset, who is always focused on adding value to people. If you do want to learn more about the mentorship, speak to Darina, schedule a call with her. If you want to learn more about the affiliate program, how you can actually make money by being with us, hanging out with us, and bringing people to the mission, Darina is the key to that. And she's right. This is your year. 2021 is more opportunities open for real estate investors, real estate agents, real estate professionals, business owners, artists, anybody who has a skill or can breathe or can communicate with other people. If you've got a pulse, 2021 is set up for you. If you have a business that didn't survive COVID, awesome. You're lucky. Thank God. It was going away anyway. Now is the chance to pivot. You're going to pivot faster than your competition. Pick up, acquire. My brother runs a gym. He's acquiring gyms right now. He's picking them up. He's going out where everybody else is scared. They're running. They're afraid. He said, awesome. I'll just take this at a discount. Bought this at 10% on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar. He's buying these things. He's a genius. Smart kid. Excellent. Also, sales. Who'd like to learn more sales? Who knows that sales is kind of the key to success in life? Yes. So once we've got your motivation up and we teach you all this, January 21st, Terry, myself, and Mitch Jaworski are teaming up to teach real estate investors the skill set that you need in order to acquire more property. Names on deeds. The way to get rich is names on deeds. In fact, I was watching one of my trainings that I did on the Alchemist Mindset section in Alchemist University on the website, waltermerlo.com. And I was in there and it was the Alchemist A stands for abundance. And as I was listening to it and typing up a blog article on Leo Finance, I noticed I said something profound. I said names on deeds. And it's something I haven't mentioned often enough. The whole way to be rich in real estate is get your name on the deed. I don't care if you used your money or somebody else's money. I don't care if you borrowed money, if you used somebody else's loan. It doesn't matter. Names on deeds are the ones who get paid. Does that make sense? It was a realization that I had, something that occurred about 7 years ago as I was just driving through the city and I looked at both sides and I saw $250,000 house, $250,000 house, and I noticed 2 million on this side, 2 million on this side. And I was driving down each block. I noticed each block was an $8 to $10 million block. And I realized the difference between me and the person who owns that real estate is that their name is on the deed and mine is not there yet. And then a few years later, my name was on most of those deeds in that block. Does that make sense? So it's very possible for you. Next up, Christine McGinley. What's your tip for hyperfocus?
That's a good question. There's two that I really liked. One was the notifications, that if you have your notifications on, you're probably living in reaction. and set that into your schedule when you're going to go do that, whether you're doing social media for networking and seeing opportunities, or if you're, check your texts. If it's really important, there'd be a window to take care of that. But the other one I really want to play on, and I think all the coaches have said it today, is how can I? And that's the most important thing, is how can I get that next thing done and how can I move forward? I think a lot of people get distracted by what didn't go their way, rather than how can I make more things go my way? How can I get more of my own time to do what I really want to do that's going to move me forward and give me that fulfillment in my life? And who can I use and give a paycheck to so I can do more of what I do best? I know a lot of our students right now are looking for the VAs to help them get everything done so that they can do what they really want to enjoy, whether it's their partner making more money, making more sales. It's not the skill sets like Walter was talking about. It's giving other people that have those skills to do the work for you. So how can I find somebody to help me? How can I use the resources around me? How can I find a coach that will tell me what to do next or give me the guidance, someone that's been there before, whether it's making an offer, growing their portfolio, what book to read next for inspiration. I mean, all those people are in this room and we're all moving forward together. And so how can I is the key takeaway I want you guys to think about. How can I stay hyper-focused? And you've been given so many different tools and guidelines today. So go be focused and grab the tool. Terry did drop it in there.
Awesome. Give Christine a round of applause. And if you want to get focused on building wealth, go to gualtermarolo.com, hit the net worth tracker. Go to the tools section, hit the net worth tracker and fill it out and get hyper-focused. I don't have the feature yet, but we're going to add a feature where you can actually email it to yourself. But for now, at least go find out what your net worth is, or go to the compound interest calculator and type in and find out what it would be if you started doubling your money each year. That means 100%. You got to go to the increase percentage and make it 100% instead of the 12 that I have it set at. And imagine if you did double your net worth each year for 10 years and just look at what that would look like. And dream and vision what that might be and how you could do it. Each year, focus on that year, how to double. You don't have to focus about year 10 on how to double $1 billion or $1 million or whatever year 10 is for you. But focus on how to double year 1 and you'll find increase. Mike Schein, the closer. 9 real estate closings yesterday. 9 in one day. I don't know another attorney who does 9 real estate closings that all go off without a hitch. Mike, your big lesson on hyper-focus. How did you stay hyper-focused in 9 real estate closings? No, you're still muted.
It was effortless because I have the most amazing staff. They are just so awesome. And I just was in Pawtucket waiting for packages, got the packages, put the people in, sign the docs and get them out. And they were all very happy. It was awesome.
Amazing.
First of all, shout out to Brenda Schein, who's on the call. Hey, Brenda. Woo!
Brenda Schein, MVP in the Schein family.
She's probably on the treadmill as well. So anyway, it's funny you were mentioning hyperfocus and pain. And this morning I was reading Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. And he was talking about pleasure and pain. And so when you started talking about hyperfocus on the pain, that was awesome. That was like the universe. I'm like 2 people said at the same time. And what I've noticed is that if you can start doing the one thing, it creates a momentum. And since I've got the book of the week, the one thing, Gary Keller talks about if you took a 2-inch domino and then you doubled the size of that domino so that the next one would be 4 inches and then 8 inches. By domino 31, you would be 3,000 feet over Mount Everest. And by domino 57, you would be almost to the moon. So those little hyper focus on one thing creates such a momentum that you can just keep moving from thing to thing to thing. And next thing you know, you look back and you've crushed major things. So that's really what I took out of it. And I'm so glad you said the pain, because as a high I, to do like the minutia is what I don't like to do. But if you can hyper focus on that one thing that just gets you on to the next thing, suddenly there's a momentum. And personally, you know, Ken and I are working on this this deal, and that's what it's been like. Just get that one painful thing out of the way that they're asking, lenders asking for, and it just keeps going. So yeah, so that's what I learned today. Thank you.
Give Mike Schein a round of applause. Is it okay that all of our coaches are millionaires and they're still learning in these conversations? Is that cool? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. At this point, we'll open it up for the community. If there's a comment or a suggestion or something that you would like some help with, we're here for you. We'll be here for probably the next 15, 20 minutes. You can either drop your questions in the chat or just unmute your mic and ask away. But we're here to help. We want to make sure that we're giving you that opportunity. Your success is key to us feeling accomplished. You know, we're very fulfilled when we see you moving forward and we feel like we're making progress in our lives. So what can we help you with? What are some of the big things you'd like us to talk about over the next couple of weeks? Or what is something you like that you got going on in your life right now that you'd like some answers for? This is your chance, your opportunity.
Everyone's intimidated.
No,
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the same thing for all the newbies, right? I mean, don't be intimidated by the dollar amount. Don't be intimidated by the level of success, right? You're starting where you're starting for you. So take that self evaluation, that analysis, and just look at what is that next step for you? What does that look like?
I like that. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I'm taking part in it for the first time. My name's Jim.
Welcome, Jim. Let's give him a round of applause. Hell yeah.
I'm a friend of Mike Schein's, and he's asked me to pay attention here, and I'm glad I zoomed in today. I'm calling from, I'm in from my office, but appreciate the opportunity and the information.
Awesome, Jim. We're glad to have you, brother. And a friend of Mike's is a friend of mine.
All right. Nice to hear.
And a rock star attorney, personal injury. Yeah, he's amazing. So thanks for being here, Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
So if Mike gives you the recommendation, Jim, feel free to put your information in the chat. If anybody knows somebody who's been injured, call the law offices of Jim Howe, and Jim will put his information in the chat. A friend of Mike's a friend of mine. I absolutely condone
appreciate that. I'll certainly do that right now. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, brother.
I just thought I'd jump in for a moment since we're talking about the one thing.
Tom Osbeck, one of our mentor members. Awesome. Let's give Tom a round of applause. He reminds me of the gentleman who started KFC. Tom says, oh, you know, I'm a little old, but I'm going to get this money. I'm going after it.
Give me a break.
I appreciate you, Tom.
So a couple of people within Keller Williams, that's where Gary Keller, who wrote the one thing, heads up. A couple of people that are very much in touch with him and are readers are running a seminar on the one thing. It runs from 10 to 4 in the afternoon Eastern time. So that's 6 hours on January 26th. So if you'd like more information on it, maybe next week I'll post information on it, or I could post it sometime soon. I don't have it right in front of me, but I thought you guys would want to know that.
Absolutely,
and if you don't like
Tom.
read the book, or you want to read the book along with the seminar, very good. But he will be posting or telling about a lot of insights in the book, as well as comments that Gary Keller's made that may not quite have made the book.
Awesome, Tom. Definitely, if you can get that into the Alchemist Mentorship Program as well. As soon as you see that, just drop it into the Facebook group so we can make sure everybody has access to it.
Okay, will do.
Awesome. Let's give Tom a round of applause. Value add. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Walter,
Kevin, what's up, brother?
what's up, man? How's it going, brother? Out here grinding through this snow and ice. But
Hell yeah.
I just wanted to piggyback on Terry, where he was focused on the 2 to 3 hours. And then again, right, your priorities. Ultimately, I don't know, more than half of us are probably that scaredy cat guy type and probably have no idea what priorities are actually required to take those necessary steps within a business or within a strategy. I know the coaching is there, the opportunity is there, but are there anything else? Is there any other way, maybe besides the coaching? Is there another option?
Yeah, Kevin, great question. And Kevin actually just joined our mentorship. So let's give Kevin a round of applause for betting on himself. And he's been doing some side hustle work for us. Phenomenal job, phenomenal wholesaler out of my city, Fall River. We share the same heritage. So Kevin, there's a secret for every entrepreneur, right? If you go to gualtermorello.com, you go to my education section, scroll down to the 52 weeks to wealth, and you can, in a moment, build the right strategy for your business just by going down all 52 steps. So if you first start with step 1, think $1 million. Step 2, build $1 million, focus on $1 million business. Jump to step 4, focus on cash flow, the 4 types of money: profit, cash flow, equity. And you jump all the way down and just build your business from the 52 weeks to wealth. You can very realistically build something pretty amazing. And all it is focusing on one strong skill set that you have, the thing that you would wake up and do every single day. If you focus on that and then add the 52 wealth principles to it, in a couple of hours, you could come up with a really good strategy for yourself. And then pitch it to any one of the coaches. Pitch it to us, shoot me a text, shoot any of us a text and ask, hey, this is what I'm thinking of. Does that work? That sound good, Kevin? You're going to commit to that this week?
It's a yes.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
Hell yeah, brother. I appreciate you, man. You got to make our city better.
He was mid-shovel.
Absolutely.
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. How do you shovel out of a nor'easter up in New England?
One shovel at a
One
time.
shovel at a time.
Give Kevin Pereira a round of applause. He is part of our community. He runs the Wholesale Mastermind with Elizabeth Miller and Darina, and he is volunteering a lot of his time in the community. Just an awesome investor. Appreciate you, brother.
Stop eating elephants. Okay? Vegan does not want anybody eating elephants.
Our holistic attorney.
Plus, they're kind of endangered, so you just, leave the elephants alone.
It's about doing the right thing. What else? What's something we can help you out with in your business right now? Mike, go ahead.
Hi, Galt. Hey, by the way, great job on the presentation on Thursday. Very impressed with your life story. Your presentation was excellent. So I'll be contacting Darina to talk about the mentorship and talk about possibly investing. Very exciting. The other thing I wanted to know, I've been starting to think about money a lot and watched a lot of things, and I've learned a lot about real estate. Haven't done much, but you pretty much nailed almost everything on that presentation. That, like the philosophies that I've learned that make sense. And so I was, again, very impressed. And thanks for inviting me to your presentation.
Let's give Mike a round of applause. Some people are afraid. So Mike, what makes you different from normal people? I invited some of my family members. I invited some of my close friends who I grew up with, because I said, if I don't invite them and 5 years from now, they see the opportunity and they come and they say, oh, I should have jumped in. Will you still sell it at the price that I offered it then? I wanted to make sure that I gave everybody the opportunity. And so you showed up. I think that they were afraid that I'd be asking them for money, which I was not in that offering at all, asking for money. I was just saying, hey, by the way, this is what we're doing. There is an option. It's an offering that if you want to invest in, you can, but we're financially stable and we don't need any investments. Like, this is just a tool for us to get to REIT status. We like people that we care about to be in with us, that we like. And Mike, you were there, and thank you. Done a little bit of research. I've been in this for a few years, and I have hyper focused on one thing, and that is doubling my money every single year. And now I'm committing, and 4 years ago, I started doubling Ron's money. I committed to him as an individual, and I said, I'll double your money every year. And now we're just looking to add a few more people to that because it keeps me going, keeps me motivated, and it helps me play the game at a bigger level. So thank you, Mike, for being at the presentation, for your kind words. And also great job on doing the research. The fact that you recognize the direction that we're going in, you saw it as that's what everybody else is saying, means you're reading the right stuff. You're reading the right articles, you're watching the right videos. So you're educating yourself.
So golf, just so all the other people understand, if you don't do the legwork and the studying and the back, like I said, I'm telling you, I've fire hosed information for over a year straight learning about this. And because I did that, when Golf was speaking about these, the system that he's want to put in place, he was check. So when you add up all these different checks, the probability of it working properly, it makes you feel more confident as an investor that he knows what he's doing. That's what I wanted them to know. But you can't get to that level until you put the time in. It's not going to be, if your relative came to you one day and said, hey, I got this thing, I've been thinking about it for a month, and you haven't done your research, you don't know what to ask, what's good about it, what's bad about it. So you're just blind investing. You got to know what you're investing in. So again, thank you.
Awesome. Give Mike a round of applause. And that is the truth. Educate yourself. Me and Mike and Mitch, we say this on the 100 Millionaires podcast all the time. This is not financial advice. This is how we invest. This is what we do at the level that we're at. We strongly suggest everybody gets their own information, and go and read, go and research. We'll give you the books that we've researched. We'll give you the websites we've researched. And you got to do the homework that Mike's done so that you know exactly what you're doing with confidence. You can move with confidence. When we say invest all your eggs in one basket, it's because we know exactly, we expect you to know everything about that investment before you make that decision. And yes, as an entrepreneur, sure, you've got to fire, ready, aim. You got to go out there and take some risks, but not with your money. With investment, you've got to understand internally how that investment works. With entrepreneurialism, whatever, just go do something, right? Like go and take action, because you're building businesses, buying real estate. With your time and energy, explode, go and just take action. Nothing's going to kill you out there. You don't live in Alaska. There's no bears to eat you, right? And if you do live in Alaska, well, don't go out there with honey in the middle of the night, right? You'll be all right. You should survive. You know the rules. You don't live in Australia with lions and tigers out there, or wherever the tigers are. I think that's Africa. So.
Wrong animals, dude. Australia, wrong animals.
Hyenas, whatever the one.
Poisonous, venomous.
The kangaroos, right?
Dingoes.
Yeah, and
kangaroos will punch you out.
You live in America. You live in Europe. You live in these really, really safe regions of the world.
Koala bears.
Right. The koala bears are going to take you out.
The koalas are sweet, loving animals as long as you don't anger them. I have a picture hugging a koala bear in Sydney. Greatest experience ever. In fact, everyone put it on your list of goals. Make enough money to go to Australia for like a month, because it's literally the greatest experience you'll ever have.
Patrick Sullivan, feedback.
Walter.
Wow, listen to that voice. Man, I've got to get an audio set up like that.
Not expensive, I'm telling you. I sent you the links. You're just being lazy.
This is true.
Stop being lazy.
I mean, it's one-click shopping. You'll have it on Tuesday.
I'm just going to commit. I'm just going to commit to setting it up. I'm afraid of the instructions. That's the part. I got fear. Look at me. I got fear. Patrick, what would you say is your big takeaway or your big suggestion for people to hyper-focus this week?
Big one. Well, first I got to remember to tell you something funny. Do you know Sean Goodrow, the loan officer in Boston?
It's possible.
His cousin married The Rock.
No way.
Talk about that. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess she's drinking that tequila, the Rock tequila now.
There you go. I mean, the biggest thing about focus, I think, is just doing it. And everyone always talks about analysis paralysis and how it just stops everything. Like lock yourself in the office, put on headphones, ignore everybody. I remember you and I talked about the notification things a while ago before, and even on my phone, I have some of mine turned on, but almost all of mine are turned off. But that's my entire phone. Every single app is on that screen in those folders. So when I look at my notifications, they're all right there. And I see people have phones and they slide 12 pages of things to find crap. I don't understand it.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, just do it. Things happen, just stick with it.
So be more organized in the space that you spend all your time, right? You're spending all your time here. You organize your house, you organize your desk. Why not organize your phone?
Yeah, I counted them once. There's almost 400 apps right there on that screen. And if I have a notification, it shows, and like right now I have a 2. That's it.
That's hyper focus. And Pat is a extremely successful investor. He's actually looking at a $22 million hotel right now. He's looking to pick up a hotel that he wants to change over to efficiency housing. So how in line with that is where we see the market going? Perfect. He's right in line with the industry, where it's moving. Let's give Patrick Sullivan a round of applause. If there are no other questions, I've got to go take my princess to the airport because she is going to Russia to go spend some time with her family. And I want to make sure I get to enjoy some time with her. So if you do have questions about the mentorship, shoot me a text or shoot Dorina a text, or you can ask any of the coaches or any of our students who are in the mentorship what their experience has been. The reason I feel so confident with it is because I've underpriced it, I've over-delivered, and I continue to build that relationship with our students long after the 8 weeks, the 2 months is over. They still have my cell phone. They still have a community. In fact, our relationship's only gotten stronger as they stay in it. And so I have full confidence that if you talk to anybody who's been through the mentorship program, they will give you an astounding appraisal. They will tell you you should take action, but they will also warn you only if you want to be successful, only if you truly do want to become a millionaire, because other than that, all we do is give good advice. I mean, there's no reason to be in the mentorship unless you want to be extremely successful. That's it. It's only for dedicated people who care about their future, care about their families, care about their lives, their health. They don't want to die with anything left on the table. They want to put it all out there. They want to make sure every part of this life is lived. We got a pretty amazing community. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. I appreciate each and every one of you guys and gals. Thank you for hanging out with us each week and getting yourself to the next level. Next week is Wealth Principle 48, which if you go to gualtermello.com and look, it is Know Thyself, the power of the personality assessment, which is starting off in January. We will be talking about, for every week, the different personality assessments that you can take to know yourself better and to evaluate the people in front of you even better, to evaluate the people that you're doing business with so you know their strengths and how to leverage them. Know your weaknesses and how to leverage other people's strengths. Would that be more valuable? Awesome. Next week is the power of personality. Know thyself and to thyself be true. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friends. I will see you. For many of you, I'll see you in the mentorship Monday night at 8. For many of us, see you in the Wholesale Mastermind Monday at 5. For those of you who are in real estate agents, I'll see you Wednesday at 5. If you are an investor looking to buy real estate, want to learn the tricks for cash flow, we'll be talking at that no money down deal, I think, month still runs. We're going to be talking about how to buy houses with no money down, seller financing, subject to existing mortgages, evaluating deals, which, by the way, Mitch, if you want to jump on this Wednesday at 6, we'll be talking about how to evaluate deals, stage 2. And Thursday, Accelerate Your Income with Terry Wager. That's 5 p.m. on Thursdays. Every Thursday, we're going through increasing sales, generating more income, whether it's focusing on your business, what to focus on, finding the leads. Each week, we go in through a different topic. It's very, very powerful week ahead of you. Cheers to your success. We have a choice.
Always work with the best.
Always work with the best.